What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, I was going ahead and scrolling through Twitter, and I saw a post by Tom Henderson, which, in my personal opinion, the way that I see it, this is one of the main reasons why gaming is taking such a bad negative turn. Now, the post basically says this: a new mid-gen Nintendo Switch was planned but scrapped, it's claimed. Basically going to death how, there's been multiple different claims that there's going to be new versions of the Nintendo Switch, potentially a Nintendo Switch 2, but obviously no dates are being brought up. And it's almost been, around 6 years, maybe even 7 years since the Nintendo Switch officially launched. So the consumers out there are basically wanting to rush the process. They want something new, they want something fresh, they want a brand new Nintendo product. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that, especially after waiting 6, almost 7 years for a new console. At a certain point, yeah, maybe it is time for an upgrade. But diving deeper into the topic, I really do think that this is the main reason why gaming as a whole is taking such a negative turn. Not because the developers or the publishers or these massive companies like Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, who actually build these consoles and all this stuff. It's not because they are trying to change how gaming is. It's because we, the consumers, are changing how our perspective of gaming is, and they are adapting and overcoming and taking advantage of how we are trying to, obviously, change gaming. Back in the day, we used to cherish everything. Every game that was made, every franchise that blew up, every new game that entered into a franchise, they always came into the picture thinking that they always had to, take it one step up. They always had to level up from the previous game, or when they brought a new game into the gaming world, it had to be a banger. Yeah, of course, it didn't always turn out that way. There's tons of games out there back in the day and current date that are just awful, just straight up awful. It happens. But the developers had a mindset that they wanted to go ahead and be very passionate and put a lot of love and work into a singular project. And consumers, a lot of us, respected that. But fast forward, current date, we kind of just want stuff. We crave more in gaming. Even if a company released a game that is jam-packed with content, I think the current day gamer would still want a content model that would be something like the live service models that we see nowadays. Not as god-awful as the Call of Duty ones where we get no maps at launch and we get drip-fed content for the whole year. Not that nonsense. But, obviously, like I said, even if the game started off good, it has tons of content, people would want them to, obviously, keep planning more content throughout the whole year. Keep adding onto the game. Keep bringing more into the picture. Add more games to the franchise. There used to be a day where people would respect a storyline, respect a game for what it is. And people still do. But like I said, I feel like people are evolving. And people just want more. They don't care how bad the storyline gets. They don't care how repetitive something gets. They just want more and more and more and more and more of it. And what do the developers do? What do the publishers do? They do exactly that. They rush out as many projects as they can, and they give us mediocre crap, still charge top dollar, and they make bank off of it. And then, because the typical consumer has completely changed their mindset and they want more and more content now, publishers abuse this. Not only do they absolutely overabuse, stacking up games in a franchise, but they also overabuse the fact that people want new stuff in games 24/7. They overcharge in their stores, they drip feed content. There used to be a time where games would release in one state, one way. Like Super Mario 64. The game was it was what you bought. It was what you bought, There was nothing that came afterwards, nothing that was, planned ahead of time. You bought the game, and you either loved it or you hated it. And people still to this day replay games like that. That's not the only game. There's tons of games out there. That was just one example. But people still replay games like this all the time, all of these years later. Like I said, consumers have changed their mindset. We are normalizing games being produced this way with a lack of content, along with the drip feed model, and an extremely overpriced store. Now, I'm not saying every single game out there follows this model. Elden Ring, for example, a phenomenal game that has tons of replayability towards that title. and it released current day, So obviously there's still games that are being released that are good, but the amount of them has decreased drastically compared to back in the day. Like I said, people used to strive to put out projects like that on the regular. Now, publishers and the head developers, management, they just care more about the dollar bill amount. How much can they milk a franchise? How much can they milk out of a consumer? It sucks. And another thing that I've noticed as well is when people hype up this type of stuff, we get a lot of mediocrity when it comes to the consoles. People want the midlife cycle of these consoles to happen. PlayStation 4 has to have a Slim, and then another one after that, and another one after that, and then the PlayStation 5 is going to come out, and it's going to be another version of the PlayStation 5, and another one, and another one, and another one, and then they finally go to next gen. They give us such minor improvements in between consoles. But they only do that because we want that. The consumer wants these things, so they deliver it. If people didn't buy this stuff because they saw that it was such minor improvements and it was completely pointless until a real next-gen console comes out, a big step up from the previous one that is worth your money to put into, then these massive companies wouldn't be milking a brand new console. Not even brand new, like I said, very minor improvement consoles every single year. We would go the lifespan, like you see between these Switches, 5, 6, 7, 8+ years without seeing anything. All of their main focus will be in developing good games for the console. But when it comes to the actual console development, it's going to be all behind the scenes. They're not even going to worry about it. They're not even going to stress bringing it to the public. When it's time, it's time. That's what would happen. But guess what? That's not how the consumers work. We want everything. Even if the only improvement is the storage size, people would gladly pay an extra $50 to $100 for, the PS5 2.0 because it has that much storage and it has a brand new name and it has new next to it. It is what it is. This has to stop, though, in my personal opinion, because like I said, it only brings us mediocrity. We don't see any improvements from console to console. We don't see any improvements from game to game because they don't have to make any improvements. We are so settled in with getting the most minor, bare minimum changes that this is what we get excited for nowadays. I'm happy that Nintendo, potentially is not having any plans just yet to even reveal anything new for another Switch or anything like that. Because really, would it be realistically anything massively changed to the overall way that things are played? Would it be anything massively changed to the graphics? The style? Like, it has to be a huge jump. There's a reason that's going to be called the Nintendo Switch 2, It has to be a reason for this stuff. And if we sit here and we beg and beg, moan, groan, whine, cry, all of the above, then yes, eventually Nintendo will probably listen, and they'll probably see the money opportunity. But I'm hoping that is not where it all comes down to. Because honestly, I respect Nintendo for that exact reason. Even though they aren't, obviously the best of best companies, they are still scummy in their own way. At the end of the day, they are probably the best company out of the whole list. Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony, all of these different platforms, consoles. I personally have the most respect for Nintendo and how they handle their business. And like I said, I respect them for reasons exactly like this. They don't over-abuse certain things. I mean, yeah, maybe the Mario franchise has been, going on for a long time, but when it comes to their consoles, they have made a few slip-ups, but typically their consoles will last for a long time. They try to make major jumps, major improvements. And I swear, if Microsoft and Sony adapted this mindset, not only would specific games become much better, certain franchises become much better, but also their consoles will just, improve by tenfold. They wouldn't be focused on trying to make minor improvements here and there every single year. All of their focus would be on the future, what the future looks like for this platform. But ladies and gentlemen, do me a massive favor, go down in the comment section and leave your opinions down below about this whole video. Again, it's not facts or anything of that sort. I'm just throwing my ideas out there and why I personally think that we're seeing the things that we're seeing with modern gaming. Very minor improvements, franchises being, overly done with the games that are being introduced. It's all because, in my opinion, the consumers just want more and more and more. Instead of expecting gems and expecting an extremely well-polished off game, more people are expecting something that's just going to be stuffed with content and stuffed with stuff for them to buy. Now, I'm not saying everybody's like that. Obviously, a lot of people who are watching this video probably don't think this way. But there's a huge casual side of gaming that nobody really sees. And that's how these people think. That's how they work. And as long as they don't mind coughing up extra money for very minor things like that, then these publishers and companies are going to continuously keep producing what they are producing. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like button. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new, enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. Also, want to chat me, there's still we do so. I have Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. And also want to catch me live streams of video games, do over on Twitch. Link that in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.